What's up, folks? Trip Smith here, and today I'm going to be going over inflatable stand-up paddle boards and the price differences and the value differences and the feature differences that you need to consider and think about before you spend your hard-earned money on inflatable paddle boards. I know there are so many different options out there, so many different price levels out there, and you need to know what you're getting whenever you make your purchase. So I'm going to go over some features that a lot of people may not think about that you should be thinking about before you spend your money. All right, let's get to it. But I want to do this to save you time, money, and possibly a bad experience if you buy a paddleboard that maybe you shouldn't. I'm also going to be covering why some boards you may want to steer away from. You know, I got on Amazon just for making this video and looked at the different boards and started at the lower price levels, and there's some that may be like $299 or $360, but there's a lot of things that those boards are lacking or those boards don't do well at all. In a lot of the reviews, people are reporting things like the paddle doesn't even float. So you drop your paddle in the water, it sinks. You know, the designs on the board are peeling off, or maybe the fin just falls off completely and maybe a busted seal even at low PSIs, or leaks throughout the board, or pumps breaking. There's just really a lot of things that for not much more money, you can get fantastic features, and that's what I'm gonna be going over with you guys today in this video, so keep watching. Today I'm gonna be going over 3 different boards that I have here. These are all inflatable stand-up paddle boards of different price ranges. I have, the furthest one is a budget board, then I have a middle of the ground board, then I have a top of the line board. Now there's a lot of differences in these things, but I'm gonna make them clear and concise for you guys, okay? Now the furthest board I have over there, that's my budget board. Now that's a $600 board on Amazon. Yes, you can go lower than that, but I wouldn't suggest even going much lower than that for some reasons I'm gonna be going over very soon. Then the next board I have, my middle of the road board, that's an $850 board shipped. It has a lot of amazing features that the $600 board doesn't have, okay? It's a great board. Then I have the Red Paddle Co board, which is $1,485 board right now. The price just dropped from $1,700 the last time I looked. Really a pretty pricey board, but it has some pretty sweet features that make it that price. All right, I'm gonna go over some quick spec differences with you. How long is that board? I think it's like 11.2. Leader Accessories board, $600 board. This is 11'2", 36 inches wide. No, weight comes in at 31 pounds. The weight capacity on this joker is 300 pounds. Now the board I'm sitting on, this is a Blackfin board, the $850 board. This thing is 34 inches wide, weighs in at 32 pounds, and the capacity is 485 pounds, so quite a bit of capacity on this board. Right over here, Red Paddle Co board, the $1,400 and something $85 board. It is 13 foot 2 inches long, and it's 30 inches wide, and it weighs in at 25 pounds. 25 pounds for a 13'2" board. That's pretty incredible. All right, first I'm gonna compare the top of the line board to the budget board. So first let's start off with PSI. That's how much air you can put into these boards, how tight you can make the board. Now, the PSI makes a difference. The higher the PSI, the more rigid the board will be, so the better it will handle. And also, a lot of times a board that has a higher PSI, that can also indicate that it has a better construction and better build quality because it can withstand those higher pressures pushing out on all of the laminates and stuff that they make the board with. The budget board, you can pump it up max pressure of 12 PSI. Red Paddle Co, high-end board, you can pump it up to 25 PSI. That is a big difference, folks. Big difference. This is a lot more rigid board. And also, again, that may indicate how strong the board may be as well, because 12 versus 25, that's a lot more pressure pushing against all this stuff that's holding it together. So this board is built better, okay? Real quick, I wanna give a shout out to some of my awesome Patreons, new patrons. Welcome to the family. Nate Fisher, Todd Bartell, Matthew Stelfox, Rick Matthews, and Greg Whitworth. They're all supporting at the $10 level. And what's up, Justin Payton? Get out there, man. And also Andrew Harlan, supporting at the $50 level, stepping up to the big time. Thank you guys so much for your support, and also thank you all the other new patrons that we've been having. Let's get to the video. Next, we'll talk about length. Okay, we have, what did I say, like 11.2, I believe, versus 13.2. With length comes speed. The longer the water line, the higher cruising speed you have. Okay, so it takes less effort to push this board through the water at a higher rate of speed. Then we go into width. The narrower the board, the faster it's gonna go through the water. Granted, that may not necessarily be a price difference or feature difference, but it's something to think about whenever you're purchasing your board. Next up, something that people oftentimes overlook is bungees. Now, everyone loves bungees. This is where you're gonna be strapping down all your gear while you're paddling down the river and stuff, and most all of them are gonna have bungees in the front, but a lot of them are not gonna have bungees in the back. That Paddle board has bungees in the back. The mid-range boards, they oftentimes do have the bungees in the back, but regardless, I think you should really consider purchasing one that has bungees in the back. Now, what you see I've done here is, fortunately, this board has some D-rings on it, and I just ran some strapping through the D-rings to help me strap gear down, because I've actually taken this budget board on a 3-day trip, and it does well. There's nothing wrong with it, but it is nice to have these extra bungees back here. Oh. All right, something else to think about is handle placement. This can be easily overlooked, and this is something that I think is pretty extreme that you should really consider. So most every board is gonna have a handle in the center. This is gonna be your main carry handle. You definitely need that. If the board doesn't have that, don't even think about it, okay? Because you need a way to carry it at least to the water. Another nice feature that the higher end boards have are side handles. Very nice to have. But I would say even more important than that is a handle at the rear and at the bow. A lot of them do not have that, especially once you go dip under the $600 range. They don't have the handle at the front, and that's where when you're paddling, maybe you want to tie up to a tree or throw out an anchor or tie up to a buoy or something, there's nowhere to attach a line to the front of your boat. That is not a good thing, okay? Also, loading and unloading your paddle board. If you have 2 people and you're toting them down to the water and you don't have a handle on the front, it's gonna make that very awkward. Even if you're swimming or anything and you're wanting to grab on, there's places to grab onto the board while you're swimming around there or something. Those are things to think about. That is one nice thing about the red paddle board, are these side handles. Very, very nice to have. Woo. Can I see myself? Yeah, I think I'm in it. Now, one thing that makes this high-end board more expensive is they have a lot of cool features that make it a super hot rod board. Now, right here, you can see right in this edge here, there's a structural batten, I guess you could say. Basically, there's a sleeve right here on the side of the board, and there's some sort of carbon fiber type batten that you slide in this sleeve as you're inflating the board. And what this does is, in this main area where you're standing, it makes it more rigid, so it's not gonna flex like a inflatable board tends to do, but although they are super, super stout. So not only do you have the high PSI, 25 PSI in here to make this a super rigid board, you also have this structural batten that makes it even stiffer. I don't think there are many other boards on the market that have this. You're gonna have to pay top dollar to get something like this, but this is really intended for people who are more worried about their efficiency. If you're worried about speed, like doing some long touring, 'cause that's what this is. This is a touring board. Now, on the underside of your inflatable stand-up paddle boards, you're gonna have a fin box, somewhere for your detachable fin to attach. Now, there are different methods that a lot of companies may use to attach the fins. Some are better than others. There's one method of attaching fins to the bottom, that's by using a US standard fin box. That is what most of the companies are gonna be using. It's a great proven design that works, and that's what the high-end board has. Now, the $600 board, it doesn't have that. It has something that's fairly similar, but it's still a decent way to attach your fin to the board, but it's not quite as reliable as the US fin box. If you go and you read some reviews of different paddle boards, sometimes with the lesser expensive ones, people have issues with them falling off. Maybe they didn't know if the fin was secure enough or not, or maybe the fin was really loose when they put it in, it just came out somehow. That's most always gonna be with something that's not a US fin box. Now, this board, $600 board, still has a decent fin attachment design. Now, some of the fin boxes on some of the lesser expensive boards, like the $300 board I was talking about, really something you wanna stay away from, because a lot of times just the fins in general are gonna be really flimsy and not gonna hold you in a straight line very well, or they may bend, or the fin may actually break, or if it comes out, it's hard to find a replacement fin for it. Now, with the US fin box, you can buy replacement fins. If you get more serious about stand-up paddleboarding, you can get different fins, like a race fin, a surf fin, a touring fin, a river fin, blah, blah, blah. They make a lot of different fins that you can get for different uses. And if you lose a fin or damage a fin, it's easy to go out and to find a aftermarket replacement for it. And also, when your fin goes into the US fin box, it's usually a lot more rigid than this wobbly thing right here. So you're getting a better fin box. Try to find a board with a US fin box. Pretty easy. Okay, now let's compare the budget board to the middle of the pack board, the black fin. One of the first differences that I'm gonna note is the PSI. The max PSI on the budget board, 12. On the middle of the pack board, 18. That's gonna equal a more rigid, more efficient board through the water, and also probably a more durably made board. Fortunately, both of these boards, they do have handles at the bow, very good. But the blackfin board, it also has a D-ring down here at the bottom for you to attach ropes and lines to, or your anchor line, stuff like that. So that is something good to think about. Both of them have bungees here at the front. Now they both do have some D-rings along the side. These are great if you want to maybe strap down a cooler or something along those lines, or a seat. Another extra feature that this board has is they have a carbon rail integrated into the construction, which is gonna help it be a more rigid board. It kind of gives you that overall feeling that this is just a better constructed board that has a little more time and effort put into it. So it's gonna be a more durable board. It's gonna last you a bit longer than a budget board is going to. Something to note about all the handle attachment points, some of them are better than others. Some may have neoprene around it like this one does. That one just has stitching, just kind of a thicker strap, but it just feels better to the hand. Like the Red Paddle Co board, it has really comfortable feeling handles, but it's not a major deal, but to some, it might make a difference. Now, the mid-range board, it does have the bungees in the back. Very handy. Again, the budget board does not have the bungees in the back. And I can't stress enough how important I think this is. So not only does it have the bungees, but it has D-rings. So if you have something that maybe doesn't fit under the bungees, you can still attach it to the D-rings. This back here, it has nothing in this rear area to tie things down. That could be very important. Granted, you do have this D-ring in the back and two more about a third of the way up the board, but it just doesn't lend you a really good way to tie things down. So this is very important that a lot of people don't think about. That's why I'm making you this video, okay? All right, one other thing about this mid-range board is underneath, it does have the US standard fin box. So this is a great feature that you need in the board that you spend your money on. You need the US fin box, okay? Now this also has another cool thing that, that some of the higher end boards have as well. It has these soft fins, these small soft fins here. So if you're going down a shallow creek or something where there's a lot of rocks or a lot of logs or something, you don't have to use your large fin. You can take it off, and you have these super durable, super flexible fins here that are always permanently mounted to the board. Pretty cool feature that I think none of the lesser expensive boards have. Very, very cool. Paddles. Now this is something that a lot of people don't think about either. Now remember me mentioning that some of the lesser expensive paddles actually sink? Yes, this is true. Get on Amazon, read the reviews. Some people say, yeah, the first time out we dropped our paddle and it sunk to the bottom of the lake. That would suck. So fortunately, both of these paddles do float, but there are major differences in these paddles from the budget paddle to the mid-range paddle. Now this mid-range paddle, this feels like one of the nicer paddles I have. It's a nice carbon fiber shaft. That is versus this, I'm guessing this is like an aluminum carbon hybrid shaft, maybe. But both of these do float. But something that is a really obvious thing about these is the rigidity of the actual paddle blade. Now, if you guys can see how much I can bend this blade, that's not trying very, very hard. That's a pretty flimsy blade. So every time you put it in the water and go for a stroke, you don't want this paddle. Okay? You want a better paddle than this. Now you step up to this mid-range paddle and it is a lot, wow, it's a lot stiffer. So you're getting a better paddle. Something very, very important because paddles can be expensive. I mean, you can spend like $400 or something on a paddle, but you can get a good one for $60 or $70 as well. But if you go ahead and buy a paddle board that has that, because you're gonna need to upgrade from this paddle. And another major difference in the paddle that I have experienced myself is, okay, a lot of these, what do you want to call them, mass-produced overseas paddles, the handle, very important, the handle. Now, I've seen this exact handle on a couple paddles that I've had, okay? It's not a very good handle. I've actually broken one of these. Now, this one just has one rivet, or it's riveted to the paddle shaft, and it's kind of flimsy and it's loose in there already, and I have not used this paddle much at all, and it's not gonna last very long, to be honest with you. Now, this paddle, okay, it has one rivet, but I believe it's also glued in here. Yes, it is. I can see the glue that is glued into this carbon shaft. It's a bigger handle, it's got a more comfortable rubbery grip, and it's not moving in there at all. So you don't want to be paddling down the river like I was and your paddle handle break off. Fortunately, it was the last day of a 4-day trip when mine broke, but still, you don't want that to happen. Trust me, folks, the handle is something very important. It's very important, okay? I'm warning you now. Okay, let's compare the pumps that come with these boards. Now, we have the budget board, middle ground board, and high-end board. Budget pump, it's a budget pump. This is the standard run-of-the-mill, as far as I can tell, pump that all of the budget and below stand-up paddle boards use. It's a decent pump, it works, but these are much, much better. All right, now let's go to the high-end pump. All right, now this is a great pump. It was one of the first ones to come out with the dual cylinder, dual chamber, as in this thing, it has essentially 2 gears, 2 speeds of pumping up the air. Now, you can set it when you first start pumping up your board to where it uses both cylinders to pump air into the board. Then as the PSI gets harder, it gets harder to pump your board, so then you can change it to just 1 cylinder. That's actually really nice to have because, especially when you have a higher PSI board, it can get difficult to pump the board up in the end. So this is great to have. Now, with this mid-range pump, the Blackfin, this is a similar pump to the other dual chamber because it is a dual chamber pump, but it actually has 3 gears on it. So it's even easier to pump up your board with this pump than the high-end pump because it has 3 speeds. So essentially, you start with the fastest speed. As it gets a little more difficult, you change to 2nd gear, and you keep going. Then when it gets really hard, you change to 3rd gear. So me, if I'm pumping these up, I always carry this pump with me because it has the 3 speeds. So pretty nice. Pumps, something else to think about. You gotta think about these things, folks. But there's more, there's more. All right, next up we've got the storage bags. Now these all come in backpacks, which is pretty nice. That's one of the great things about inflatable paddle boards. You can store them anywhere almost. All right, so we'll start with the budget bag. You guys can see I just pick it up and it's kind of just like a regular bag, okay? There's not much to it, granted, it works. It has some backpack straps on it, which are okay, they're kind of extra puffy, not really much to it. But I mean, I think it will work. It should hold up fairly well. There's no storage, different compartments or anything in it. It's just one big bag, okay? Now, you step up to both of these bags. The feature that they have, the feature that's awesome, is wheels, okay? You've got wheels on these bags, so if you're ever traveling or if you're walking down to the beach or if you're going up to your hotel while you're at the beach or whatever, you have these wheels. You can just roll it like a rolling suitcase, okay? That's pretty awesome. All right, now the backpack straps and stuff are gonna be a little better on this bag versus the budget bag, but something else that's really cool is this actually has 2 different pockets. It has a pump and accessory pocket in here. Then also, when you open it up on the inside, well, it has straps and stuff inside to secure your load, to secure the paddle board, and the zippers feel better on this one. The whole thing is just structurally overall a better bag. So you're getting a little bit, actually a decent amount better bag here. This has some actual structure to it. It doesn't just collapse and ball up like this bag does. And you step up to this red Paddle Co bag, and it's even more rigid. And I would say, and it's even lighter. Okay, and this one still has the wheels on the bottom. Very nice feature. Trust me, very, very nice feature. All right, and this one, what's kind of cool about this bag, it's a little more sleek and slim. It opens up all the way. You have this nice little pocket up in here. Then you have these straps and little holder spots for your paddle and stuff. So then it's lined with this tinfoil stuff, or I forget why. I read why one time. It's pretty cool. Granted, both of these bags are gonna be very nice, so the Red Paddle Co is a little bit nicer bag. Oh yeah, backpack straps on the back of this one, they do tuck and hide away, which is pretty awesome. So, you know, when you're transporting it and stuff, if it's not in backpack mode, you can tuck these down in here, and you know, it's pretty nice. If you're traveling with, like, on a plane or something, you know, you wouldn't want all these straps on here. You know, if they're getting tossed around by luggage people or even by you, you know, these could get caught on stuff and snagged and ripped. This is a pretty sleek bag, so you don't have to worry about that as much. So, pretty nice bag. And also, while I'm down here, we'll compare the middle of the pack paddle versus the high-end paddle. You know, these are 3-piece paddles, so they break down so they can fit in your bag. At the joints on the middle of the road paddle, you can feel them move just a little bit. Both of the blades are good and rigid. The adjustability on the high-end paddle is just a slide and lever lock, which is pretty nice. It feels like a better paddle. Granted, both of them I think are gonna be good paddles and will get you by until you wanna buy a higher end paddle. I will say that this paddle, I believe you have to purchase separately. It doesn't come with the high-end board. With the mid-range board, this very nice paddle comes with it. Yeah, Blackfin's doing some good stuff, I'm telling y'all. Something else that I believe is well worth mentioning is, okay, all inflatable stand-up paddle boards are gonna come with repair kits, or all of them that I've seen. They all usually come with some different color patch material, okay, which is great and wonderful. This is the middle of the pack Blackfin repair kit, okay. Now you get your high-end Red Paddle Co. repair kit. Aha, look here. We have a extra US fin box fitting. This is the bolt that holds it on. I didn't even realize I had this, and I almost lost mine, or I did kind of lose mine temporarily the other day. So this is super, super handy. Super handy, an extra one of these. Okay, don't lose it, Trip. All right, but I think maybe even possibly more important than that, they both come with wrenches. That's to tighten the air valve. Sometimes it may get a little leaky, but I haven't had that issue. Something that the Blackfin doesn't come with, that the Red Paddle Co. comes with, is the actual glue to make your repair. Well, that's nice. Why don't they all come with the glue to make your repair? That's something nice that Red Paddle Co. is doing. Thank you, Red Paddle Co. All right, now we still have a few other important things to cover. Something else to think about, that is warranty, returns, and distribution. Now, the budget board. That is a company that's a Chinese company. The company's ran in China, it's managed in China, everything, but their boards are kind of distributed here through Amazon or something, I don't know, but they're not here distributing their boards. Now, except to the mid-range, the Blackfin, that's an American-owned company. They do manufacture their boards, as far as I know, overseas, but then they're shipped here, they handle the boards, and they ship them out to you. Yes, because you order directly from their website. You don't get the Blackfins off of Amazon. Red Paddle Co., they're a European-based company, and they do all of their manufacturing in-house. They do their own manufacturing, their own design. So all that is something to be considered. One thing to think about is your warranty and your returns, and maybe your part replacement and stuff. With the Chinese, the Leader Accessories, the budget board, it's probably gonna be difficult. With the US company, the Blackfin, that's gonna be a lot easier. I've read online, I have read reviews and their ratings and stuff on their customer service, and it is fantastic. And whenever you call them and say, I have a problem, a warranty issue, it's gonna be someone in English that's gonna be talking to you and things like that. So that is a great thing. That's a great thing. And their shipping is fast, everything is awesome. They do all their distributing. You don't have to wait for one to come from China or blah, 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 blah. You know, they're ready to rock and roll if you do have an issue. Now, Red Paddle Co. board, you know, they're the #1 company for inflatable stand-up paddle boards in the world, as far as I'm concerned, and I think that's the general understanding in the whole paddleboard community. Anyways, that's something to think about, is your warranty and customer service returns. So overall, my general consensus and feeling is you need to spend the money on a mid-range board. You get a lot of upgrades that the high-end board has, like the warranty, the returns, customer service, the US fin box, higher PSI, bungees in the back, more attachment points, just a overall better build quality versus the budget Chinese board. That's even a $600 board. So you step up, this Blackfin XL is $849 shipped to your door. That's a great price for what you get versus a $600 board, and what you get versus a what would I say, $1,485 board, you're getting a big bang for your buck with the Blackfin XL. Now they do have just regular Blackfin, but you get like an extra foot in length and an inch narrower with the XL. I would encourage you to get the XL just because you're narrower, it's gonna be less drag through the water, you have a little bit more waterline length, so that's gonna get you a little more speed, and you're still not losing much stability at all because it's only 1 inch narrower. So go with the Blackfin XL, folks. This is the board that if you guys ask me, okay Trip, what board should I buy? You should buy the Blackfin XL. Yes, this is the best bang for your buck. Now, this is a freaking amazing board. Okay, Red Paddle can make some killer stuff. So for someone that's just getting into the market, this may not be the answer for everyone. Granted, if you had the budget, go with it. You're gonna love it. It's freaking awesome. Oh, something else about the Red Paddle boards is it actually has places you can mount cameras and stuff, so that's freaking awesome if you're a content creator like myself, or if you can, you want to attach like a fishing rod or a GoPro if you just want to film yourself or something. Has the attachment points on the board. So I hope this answers some of your questions because I know it can be a daunting task when you get out there and you type in online inflatable stand-up paddleboard and there's just a huge, overwhelming abundance of choices out there and you don't know what to do. Well, I hope this video has given you a little more insight, a little information, made you a little smarter so you can make a well-informed decision and buy a Blackfin XL for most people. But just, I mean, the budget board is gonna work. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with it, but your money is better spent. You can spend $250 more and get a better board, something you can depend on. It's gonna treat you better, and the company is gonna treat you better as well. So, Blackfin XL, that's the way to go. There'll be links below. Check them out. Like I said, you can't get them on Amazon, so I'll put a link below so you guys can check them out. And hey, hope this video helped. If you liked it, how about a thumbs up? Take care of yourselves, folks, and I'll see you in the next adventure. God bless.